What's going on, guys? VitalSyntax here, and there's been one big game that I haven't talked about yet that's come out at E3, and it's something that I'm looking forward to quite a lot, and that is the game Titanfall. So in this video I wanted to talk about some of the details, and there's actually I think a couple of details that a lot of people aren't aware of that were talked about and brought up during E3. So this game was shown for the first time off at E3 2013. They showed some gameplay in a trailer, and they also had interviews and stuff that a lot of the questions and stuff were answered. So I wanted to go through some of the basic stuff about Titanfall. Keep in mind there's not a lot of information about the game quite yet, but we will hopefully see a lot more about it in the future. So we do know the release date is going to be in the spring of 2014 on the Xbox One, the Xbox 360, as well as the PC, obviously all three being Microsoft platforms, but it's not being published by Microsoft, it's being published by EA. And the possibility of seeing this game on the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 3 is still not out of the question. They just currently aren't working on it, or maybe they're not heavily working on it, but they did say that it's not out of the question, so there's still possibility that we'll see that game maybe a little bit after the Xbox and PC release date. It's being developed by Respawn Entertainment, which is a new developer that was formed after the debacle over legal issues with Modern Warfare 2 and Infinity Ward. So it was actually founded by some of the original people that worked on Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, as well as Modern Warfare 2. So there's definitely a lot of really talented people working at Respawn Entertainment that are going to be working on Titanfall. And once again, it's being published by EA. So it'll have some integration with Origin and things like that. And it's probably only going to be available on Origin, which kind of sucks. But regardless, it's running on the Source engine, which is the engine that is powered by Valve, that Valve uses to develop all their games. And one of the reasons they're doing it on the Source engine, and it's, I guess, whatever the latest Source engine, definitely updated. You can see from the graphics of the gameplay, it's definitely impressive as far as the graphics department goes. But the reason they're doing that is that it will run at a constant 60 FPS on consoles, including the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. So they're trying to shoot for that 60 FPS fast-paced action, that Call of Duty is always touted as something that really improves the gameplay, and I would agree. That's something that I think is awesome about Call of Duty, and it's also going to be awesome about Titanfall for console players. It is a multiplayer only game, but they're mixing in some single player elements. So there's no single player campaign storyline that you go through and play by yourself, but they do have a plot with characters and a couple other things that you would see in a single player campaign, but they brought that into the multiplayer. So that's kind of interesting. I guess it's somewhat like Battlefield Bad Company 2, where you have cutscenes and stuff like that towards the end, or even Killzone has some of those cutscenes. So it's not a heavy emphasis on storyline, it's a heavy emphasis on gameplay and multiplayer gameplay. So there's two basic characters that you can play as, or roles that you can play in this game. The first one is a pilot. And as a pilot, you're going to be using infantry weapons, things like grenades, C4, assault rifles, submachine guns, maybe even sniper rifles. And you are very mobile. One of the main things that they're working on in this game is mobility. And you'll be able to run on walls and also use a double jump / a jetpack thing to move around the map really quickly. And there'll also be certain objective points, because it is a heavily objective-based multiplayer game. There will be some objective points that might only be accessible by pilots. But on top of the pilots, there's also Titans. And the Titans are essentially these huge mech units that every player has access to. And actually, from the gameplay and some of the interviews I saw, it sounds like the way the mechanic of the Titans is working, at least right now. Keep in mind, it's definitely early in the stages of development, so that things will probably change over time. The way it works right now is there's a timer, and it's let's say 1 minute. And that timer starts counting down, so everybody has a 1 minute timer till they get their mech unit. And by killing enemy players, by playing the objective, and by doing things to help your team, that countdown will count down faster, so you can actually get your Titan more quickly if you play the objective and get kills and things along those lines. But it does sound like it's not like a kill streak. Like you don't, if you die in the process, you're still going to get your mech unit, which is something that I really like, because I like the idea of kill streaks and rewarding, people that are playing, or score streaks now that they have in Call of Duty. I like that idea of rewarding players for playing good and getting kills and things like that. But I don't like the idea of when you die, your score gets reset, because it leads to a certain style of gameplay where you're rewarded for essentially staying alive, not necessarily rewarded for getting kills and playing the objective. So that's definitely interesting to see with the mech units, and the mech combat looks really cool. There's a bunch of cool weapons that I think will be really fun to mess around with. It seems there's a lot of customization you can do there as well. So the three gameplay goals that they're trying to achieve is, one, player mobility, especially with the pilots, survivability, and we'll talk about that in a second, and also merging the cinematic design with a fast-paced action first-person shooter. So the last part with merging cinematic design is kind of talking about maybe cutscenes they have, having a kind of a plot that's going on in the background, and having character sequences and stuff like that, videos on screen and stuff like that. And then the idea of survivability is actually very interesting. And it's something they didn't talk a whole lot about, but there was an interview with Polygon where they said, quote, they want to populate the environment with dozens of AI characters to give players the reward of consecutive kills while reducing the player deaths necessarily in return. And they were calling this popcorn enemies. So it's essentially, it's not just PvP. It's going to be your team, and there's actual real people on your team, but there's also AI on your team. I don't know what the proportions are, if it's going to be half and half, or if it's going to be like 1/4 of your team is humans, the other 3/4 is AI. And I'm hoping that they can make it so that the AI is actually challenging, so that you can't really tell the difference between an AI player and a human player. But I do like this idea. They're essentially, if you have that consecutive kill streak idea that you get in Call of Duty, to facilitate that in something that doesn't have AI, you have to have the other team getting just totally destroyed. And the people that are getting destroyed and killed over and over and over, that's not enjoyable. So they're trying to still have that enjoyment of getting consecutive kills, this kill streak that you're working on, but also not having the, a ton of player deaths. So they're including AKA popcorn enemies, which I thought was kind of interesting, but it could be, I don't know, it could change how it plays out, because if you think about it, you don't really get that much of a satisfaction from just killing tons of AI over and over and over. The reason you're satisfied in the first place is because you know that the people that you're destroying and you're getting this massive kill streak built up against is human players. And I think there might be a change in how you view that if the half of the people that you just killed were AI. But we'll have to wait and see how that works out. Well, that's about all the information I have so far at this point about in Titanfall. Hopefully we'll see a lot more information as we get closer to spring of 2014. I am incredibly excited for this game. I think it's going to be a really awesome multiplayer experience, and seeing that it's going to be coming to PC, and I'm a PC gamer, that's really exciting for me as well. It does kind of suck that they haven't officially announced a PlayStation version of the game, because I know a lot of people are planning to get out the PlayStation 4 as their next gen console platform, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to leave a like or leave a comment down below, and make sure to subscribe for more FPS and gaming related news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.